So we've been playing. We're going to work on Carol's back and his knees this time. We're going to work on sleeve control. We're going to look at alternative finishes to the omoplata. This is the Armhook Shoulder Lock. So from here, we've covered a lot of things on how to get into this position. We'll just go feet on hips, hip out, and I put that shallow lasso in here. And then I want to keep this sleeve control. So again, I'll be using that foot on the hip to kind of cut an angle a little bit. So when I shoot over and I get into my omoplata position, rather than trying to get Carl's shoulder to the mat for the omoplata, another option is I can lift the sleeve up with my right hand and put my right foot under his armpit, and then put my left foot under the back of my knee to make that triangle. So then a leg press to get his head towards the mat. And now I'll physically sit up. Again, I want to be thinking, I don't want Carl's arm coming out, but even if it does, we've looked at an easy arm bar and stuff I can do from there. The minute I sit up, I'm just going to put my hands on the mat. Carl's going to try and lift his hand out. I'm going to lift my hips. That's the first thing I do. And now from there, I'm just going to straighten my legs. When I straighten my legs, if you notice, it's bringing Carl's shoulder towards the mat, so still a shoulder lock. Okay. So let's look at that again. Just be careful on what we're doing tonight, guys. We don't want anyone in A&E later with a dislocated shoulder. So I have sleeve control. I'm going to open my guard, put my feet on the hips. I'm going to hip out, and I'm going to put in a shallow lasso. So we've looked at this variation on several entries, but I would have done it from a collar grip. This time I want to keep control of Carl's sleeve, so I want to use this to get my foot underneath his armpit. So again, it'll be all about getting angle. I'll use my right foot on his hip to start creating that angle so I can look into Carl's right ear, and then as I kick through with my foot, I'm stuffing his fist towards his hip. And rather than bringing this leg over and getting into the omoplata, I'm pushing down on his head, and I'm going to make a hook. So from there, I'll lift his sleeve up to create the space so my right foot can come under his left armpit, and now I'm going to make that triangle. Okay. Once I'm here, I'm going to start the leg press to get Carl's shoulder towards the mat. The second I kind of get his head down a little bit, I'm sitting up, putting my hands behind me and crunching my stomach in to keep his wrist in there. And now from there, I start the leg press as I lift my ass off the mat to get the submission. Another thing I could be doing, let's just say Carl is a little bit flexible in this position, and I feel it's just not on. Another thing I can be doing is finding this. Those that are watching a lot of jiu-jitsu competition, Michelle McNeely was doing this in her opponent and broke her arm from here. So So if I can't get into that shoulder lock just from the positioning of Carl's wrist on my hip, I can lift this arm and start bringing it behind the back of his head. So you're kind of bringing it back this way. So sometimes that's an alternative if you just haven't got the snugness. So from our position, we're going from sleeve control, feet on the hips, hip escape onto my right hip, pulling in that shallow lasso. So the entrance just isn't as snug without the collar grip, so now I need to change the angle. So my right foot's on his hip, I'm looking to cut an angle, so I'm looking into Carl's right ear. As I shoot this over, I'm going to punch that into my hip to get that 90-degree bend in his arm. I'm going to lift this arm up and put my instep underneath his armpit and make that triangle. Okay. And now from there, I'll start the leg press to get Carl's shoulder towards the mat. Once I bring it as low as I can, I'm immediately sitting up. And now from there, I can lift my hips and extend my legs to get the shoulder lock. If at any stage I'm here and I'm struggling to get Carl's shoulder towards the mat, I can start to think about bringing this arm over his head. And now I can start to bring this arm behind the back of his head. I can also get into this position, just a variation of it if I haven't got that sleeve. So maybe I'm finding it difficult getting into the omoplata with two sleeve controls. We can go back to how we were originally doing it with the collar grip. So again, I'll still use that to break the posture. As I come through, I can still have it from here because my foot's underneath his armpit. But say Carl hides that hand, And sometimes, again, as I go into the omoplata, Carl might plant his foot on the mat and start to try and put pressure on me. So another thing I can be thinking about is making the hook underneath the leg. And again, I'll be bringing him back down, making that triangle. Nothing's really changed from there. I can just extend, come up to here, and now it's just about lifting my hip. So again, one more time on that one. So maybe I had the sleeve control, and it becomes a whole hand fight, and I lost that. So now I'm back into the collar grip and pushing that through. Again, maybe Carl is hiding, and I can't get my foot underneath his armpit. So another thing, yeah, and he wants to grab the back of my pants to stack and stuff. So my foot can come underneath and make a hook under the leg. Again, I'll turn my body to make that triangle. And once I get to there, just the connection of your foot, guys, underneath his leg. We want to stay snug. Now it's just all about sitting up. And now from there, as a leg press. Notice when I leg press, it's bringing Carl's right shoulder towards the mat. Another thing I can be thinking about is lifting my hip. So